We now go inside out as SNY NBA insider Ian Begley joins us from Detroit. And Karl-Anthony Towns was nowhere to be found in the second half of Game 2, but he responded with 31 in Game 3. Ian, what was the difference in the Knicks' offense to make him an emphasis in this one?
Well, they were able to get Cat behind the arc and get him some open looks through screens, and Karl-Anthony Towns was aggressive in shooting the ball. He was letting it go as soon as it hit his hands off the pass, and he was hot early on, and this was just an impressive bounce-back game for the Knicks and for Towns in particular with the shooting, and this was the player that the Knicks traded for ahead of training camp. This was the offensive force that they traded for, coming through in a big way on a night that they really needed it. Big win here for the Knicks in Detroit.
And before the game, Jalen Brunson saying the Knicks needed to move the ball more. How were they able to get that done against the Pistons?
Yeah, Jalen was actually talking about himself, too. He said, I need to get off the ball more. So Brunson did exactly that. At one point late in the game, he had 7 assists to 1 turnover. He moved the ball a ton. All the starters, 4 of the starters out of the 5 had double-digit shots, and you had 100 points between OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, and Karl-Anthony Towns. So the ball spread out, the ball moved, and the offense came up with big shots when the Knicks needed it. So, again, big bounce-back performance for a Knicks team that was tested in a hostile environment.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, that covers the offensive side of the ball. How were the Knicks able to keep Cade Cunningham in check in this one after he went off in Game 2?
This was OG Anunoby, and this was Mikal Bridges. I mean, these two really slowed Cade down. They bothered him all night. I think it was 10 for 25 late in the game, and this was not the same Cade Cunningham that played Game 2 at the Garden. OG Anunoby talked about some adjustments that the Knicks made after Game 2. Heading into Game 3, obviously both of those guys very effective. Knicks team defense was strong as well, withstood some strong shooting from former Knick Tim Hardaway Jr., but really bothered the Pistons for most of the night. A lot of credit goes to Bridges and Anunoby for that.
The Knicks pull it out Game 3 in Detroit. They lead the series now 2-1. And Chris, every time it looked like the Knicks were in control, Detroit came back right back with a run. But the Knicks, how were they able to hold off the Pistons every time?
Well, a couple things here. Number one, a much more complete performance from Karl-Anthony Towns, which I know we referenced there on both ends of the floor. He even had a late block of Cunningham that I thought was significant because they went the other way with the Brunson basket. So and Brunson. And look, I know the ISO stuff in Game 2 was a little tough to take for everybody, but in this particular case, didn't shoot it well early, but some big buckets down the stretch, taking the ball to the basket. Thought that was critical. And I got to be honest, I applaud Detroit. They're a spunky team. They don't give up. They're definitely not intimidated, but I feel at times they're just lacking some of the real shooting prowess that maybe you need to take down a Knicks team when you're the underdog. Cunningham's an excellent player. They have a couple guys that can shoot the 3, but I felt late down the stretch they were missing those big shots that would have really gotten them fully back in the game. They did threaten, but not quite all the way there.
A lot of those threes Detroit was hitting in the first half, they weren't hitting in the second half. But you hit on the biggest reason why the Knicks were able to go and win this game. We talked about Karl-Anthony Towns touches. There you go.
Needed more touches.
Say that 10 times fast. He needed to get the ball. He needed to be a factor. And from Jump Street, you could tell that Karl-Anthony Towns was ready to go, that he was embracing the stage of Game 3, and that he was going to be a big part of this thing. And Jalen Brunson got a lot of criticism after Game 2. He was nails down the stretch. Now, you can look at his shooting percentages in the first couple of quarters, and yeah, they might have left a lot to be desired. But there's a reason why he ended up winning that clutch award the NBA gives out. At the end of this game, when Detroit was making their runs, who was the guy again and again and again making a big play for the Knicks? Captain of the team.
Always is. All right, there were 2 GOATs in Game 2. We've discussed Towns, but Mikal Bridges also had a rough Game 2. JJ, both had bounce-back games, and even you were giving Bridges props during this one.
Listen, I give credit where credit is due. For as poorly as Mikal Bridges shot the basketball in Game 2, costing the Knicks dearly, he was a big part of this thing in Game 3. And it looked like it might unravel for him when he missed that opportunity early in the game where I'm thinking, oh, geez, here we go again. But whether it comes to defense on Cade Cunningham, where he's helping out OG Anunoby, finishing around the basket, hitting the mid-range shot, hitting the outside shot, and basically, CeeLo, doing a job as far as filling up the stat sheet. That is what you envision when you bring Mikal Bridges to this team. Major bounce back. Give credit.
Absolutely. Bridges, Towns adding to the mix. You had 4 guys, 20-plus points. First time since, 72? I think they had done that in a playoff game. So the balance and getting everybody involved, it was just more of a sharing the basketball and getting everybody some touches and some shots, much better than they did in game number 2.
Yeah, that was the problem game 2. All right, guys, game 4 now Sunday afternoon.